So good morning. This is Craig Blanchette, and I'm a global director with Take Shape for Life, and I'm a optimal health coach, like many of you. And it's my pleasure to bring this meeting, this webinar to you. If you're listening to this live, of course, you can tune in to a podcast. If you want to automatically get this delivered to you every week, you can tune into your favorite podcast app. Think of podcasts as a radio. In order to receive radio stations, you have to have a radio. And then once you have the radio, you get to choose different channels that you want to listen to. You want smooth jazz, you want rock, you want country, whatever. And so on your phone, you have to go get the radio. And then within that radio podcast app, you get to search for kinds of content. And there's stuff on there besides just health stuff, by the way. You can search for a number of things. So I want to invite you to download the podcast app if you haven't done that, and search for Team Blanchette, and you can subscribe to this, if you will, radio station. And you'll be able to get content automatically delivered. You can also subscribe to the nurses call, the doctor call, and the Habits of Health webinar, and it'll be delivered every week, hot and toasty, if you will. And so anyway, and of course, if you're listening to this on the podcast, we do this 9 a.m. on Friday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's 12 Eastern. And so you can tune in to us each week here. And so next thing what I want to do is as we're getting into the holiday season, right? So this is kind of the lull before the storm, if you will. And there's a few ideas that I want, if you haven't been a health coach through a holiday season, it's pretty important time of year. A lot of stuff happens that doesn't happen any other time of the year. And so I want to start off the call and open up the lines and just really toss it out to you guys and ask, are you looking forward to the holiday season? Are you not looking forward to it? Do you have, do you usually gain weight? I don't know, just something about what's coming up in this next holiday season. And then if you're a guest as well, we want to introduce you. So let's have a few people just jump in and give us some thoughts. You're excited about it. You're not excited about it. You have a plan. Who wants to go first?
I do.
Hey, Craig.
Hi,
go ahead. Someone else go first.
Yep. Hi.
I'm very, 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 very excited about the holidays. I'm in a house, and it's very exciting to be able to decorate for the first time in years. And I've been through many holidays with clients, and I think one of the biggest things is reminding them it's only 2 days, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And unless you go to tons of parties, which some people do, 2 days. And you can either make them as healthy as possible. You can say, oh, well, I'm just going to enjoy them. Or you can try and be mindful, but still enjoy them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And make them the best possible.
Yep. The 3 tablespoon rule is one that we often have. You can have anything you want. You just limit it to 3 tablespoons, and that's probably going to serve you well. Steph's my mom, by the way, and she lived in a very small sort of apartment. It was like 500 square feet for many years. And so now she's living in a house. And so when she says she gets to decorate, that's a little background on what that means. So, my mom. By the way, for all of you that may or may not know, I'm going to be a grandpa.
Yes!
Can you believe them apples? Yeah. So my son Quincy and his wife Elizabeth, they live with us now, and they are going to have a baby. So,
and guess what? I'm going to be a great grandma.
I know, right?
Congratulations, guys. That is so exciting.
Yeah, pretty great. So, looking forward for my granddaughter to come. No, I don't know if it's going to be a girl or boy.
Be careful there, Craig.
Yeah. Who wants to go next? Tell us a little bit about your holiday, your own personal journey, plan for the holidays.
I've been a client in the holidays, but I've never been a coach in the holidays. And I already have my clients coming to me and talking to me and saying, but what about the stuffing? What about the mashed potatoes? And so actually, I'm really glad that you brought this up, because when I was as a client, I would kind of allow myself to throw those days away, and I would have the stuffing and I would have the mashed potatoes and gravy, and then I would feel sick the next day. And so I've learned, just from my own personal journey, that it's not smart to just throw a day away, because then you kick yourself out of fat burn too, and that's not good. And then you feel like trash. Mm-hmm. And when you're diabetic, that's not a fun place to be. So it's just kind of that whole learning curve and learning process. But Melanie, my one client, is already saying to me, I have to have sweet potatoes. And so I'm like, well, you could have the Medifast sweet potatoes. And she's like, no, it's not the same. So actually, I'm so glad that you brought this up, so that I can better know how to help her through that, because, well, I struggle in that too. But the holidays are my favorite.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you for saying that. And really, the thing comes up is there's no cheating. There's just, you get to choose, right? How can you cheat? And what I was always thinking about the idea is, if you can jump ahead to the other side of the holidays, and you can think of, who do I want to show up as in the future? You may decide that those sweet potatoes are really important. You may decide that they're not as important as showing up and feeling, you talked about feeling crappy. And sometimes isn't food the most important right before you eat it, when you're hungry? Right? This is going to be the last fill in the blank ever, and I have to have it, right? So we've got some fun strategies too that we can talk about, but that's great. Thank you for sharing that with us. Linda Benson, you've got your hand raised. Where are you?
Can you hear me?
No.
Dang it.
Yeah.
I always fall for that. Sorry. I'm just driving. So I'm excited to, and I love what people have said so far, but being pregnant for the first time ever through the holidays, I think there's a feminine experience that men can't really.
Is it
putting habits into play? Like, it used to be a binge fest, and now it's more balanced. How do I just letting them know if it's important to you? Yes.
Linda, you may want to call in, because we got. I could fill in the blanks, but that would be fun. And
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead and fill in the blanks. I'll mute myself. Yeah,
so she was,
but you get the idea.
Lady, and I love mashed potatoes. No, I don't know what she was saying, but anyway, if you want to call in on the normal number, because I think we got the gist of basically what you're saying, is that you can take liberties by having it be the holidays and being pregnant, and go in. You know what? We make our choices, but we don't choose our consequences, right? So if we choose to do something like, it's like you can't have your mashed potatoes and feel great too, right? Because mashed potatoes come with a certain type of package, right? It's a package deal. And so we all get to choose, make our choices on the front end, but the way the world works is those choices come with packages.
Craig, I want to just add to that. Just something I'm excited about.
Hi, Alex, and good morning.
Hey, did you not see me there?
I did. There you are.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Yeah, I'll just let you guys all know. Also, I'm jetting out at 9:20. I have a doctor's office I get the opportunity to meet with this morning about health, which is great. So really excited about that. Aside from that, what I'm excited about with this holidays is piggybacking on what Craig and Linda were just talking about. I'm so aware of the pain. This is going to sound funny, but I'm so aware of the pain that's associated with the pleasure of instant gratification right now. We get some pleasure out of those choices that we make, and that's why we get all this anticipation. But I'm so aware of the pain, the package deal that follows it. How yucky I feel, how stuffy I feel, I don't sleep well. I have to exercise 3 times as much, or I have to go on another program to try and burn fat, because I don't like the way I feel. My clothes don't fit very well. I'm so in tune with that this year that I feel so blessed going into this holiday season with that mindset ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that going into the future and not only experiencing the pleasure of what you're going to get out of having a healthy holiday, but not having to deal with the pain of what you've had to experience before. So use both the pain and the pleasure.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great stuff. Thank you, guys. So it just gives you a little insight into it. There's a couple things that happen, and we're going to get into this a little bit more in detail, but there's people that you only see during this time of year. And one of the questions I have is so I could go ahead and stuff my face and say, I only do this at Thanksgiving. But if they only see me at Thanksgiving, how am I different than what I used to be? Did I show up as a health coach for the one time a year that they see me and maybe have mashed potatoes another time? Mashed potatoes aren't going to kill me. They're not going to ruin my life, right? But if it's not about me, what if it was about them? And what if it was about the impression that I gave them that not only that would inspire them to make changes that would dramatically affect their lives, right? Things like that. So Daniela, you had something there, and then we're going to go to our guests.
Yeah. So I find it interesting at this point in my personal journey and in working with clients, I've just become so aware, and even in our conversation here today, how food-oriented we are. So as the minute we say the word holiday, here we are having this food conversation, right? When really, and this is where I love to go with my clients, is what really is the reason that you're going to so-and-so's or you're having 50 people over or whatever. What is the reason for that? And when we can dig there, it's all about the people and that sort of thing. I mean, if you had, other than if people were hungry, but if you had no food and you just had, water, could you have a great time with those people anyway? And most people realize that, oh, yeah, well, and what if we created activities instead of food? What if we had game tables instead of food tables? Or, so yeah, it's just kind of been a big aha with how quickly we go to that holiday food, party food,
Yeah, I think that some of us too, the stress of the holidays, we're around people we don't really like. I mean, because who chooses our family, right? I choose my friends. I chose my spouse. I didn't choose my mom. I didn't choose my kids. They were gifts. And sometimes there's family that you don't really like. And so you're hoping that there's good food, so at least you'll like something, right? I mean, just to be totally quite honest, right? You're with people that you sort of have to be with. And so sometimes it's like, what if we were to think about, I don't really like Uncle Larry, but what if I was curious about him and his life? And I asked him some questions and got to know him better. What would that look like? So
it really seems like the common theme is getting the focus not on the external thing, like which is the food or expectations needing to be a certain way, which is the mindset thing. It's really focusing on what am I really here for? And it's the people, the true intrinsic thing. And what I heard Daniela bring up is let's get creative of how do we enjoy each other in a healthy way. And Daniela, you kind of made an assumption, which for some people, yes, they could have fun without the food, but a lot of people, like we were just discussing, don't know what to do. But yet they do if we actually think about it. What are some other things, right?
It's awkward at first when you invite people over and you don't have food. I personally have experienced that. And you're like, so what do I do with my hands? I should be putting something in my mouth right now and I don't know what to do. So yeah. It's a weird thing. But we can do it if you think about it. We're big people. We can figure it out.
It's almost like we have to become like facilitators of relationship, right?
Yeah. So funny.
Well, I think another interesting factor in the whole thing is this a concept that comes up, and I know I've had it spin through my brain too, which is you've been invited to somebody's house perhaps for the holiday, and we have this concept as the guest that, okay, they're going to serve X and Y, and it would be rude if I didn't eat it, right? And it's an interesting sort of a wheel that starts to turn, because it's sort of like, so if they were giving out something that was, I don't know, you were allergic to, would you eat it anyway because you're their guest?
Yeah, that's poisonous. But I want to make them feel good, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Never mind my anaphylactic shock over here in the corner. I wanted to make you feel good.
Yeah. Do you have an EpiPen? Because I'm about to eat this and it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the extreme, but think about that. Is high glycemic foods slow acting poison for our health? Is obesity a slow acting death? If you think about it, it kind of is. So anyway, fun stuff.
Hey,
Betsy,
Craig, that's one thing that might be helpful for some of the newer people and some of the newer coaches, is to maybe help them have some verbiage that they can use that isn't as insultive to the host or hostess, such, as Daniela said, because I think it's that social experience that we all feel we have to be gracious guests. And there are words you can use and still be gracious about the food they're serving without being insultive.
do you have, I know for those of us who've been coaching a while, we've thought through this and sometimes trial and error, but we have a few in our back pocket. I know you do, Betsy. What's one or two that you have?
I usually try to try to find the positive. It's like, oh, I so want to save room for a turkey. I'm just gonna really focus on the turkey today. Everything looks wonderful, but I'm excited about having some really good turkey. So I try to focus to the positive, and sometimes they push it, and then I do have to say that's just something that I've learned I need to stay away from because it doesn't agree with me.
You could say gives me really bad gas.
Well, I'm trying to be in the social realm, Craig. You're a boy, and boys do that stuff.
Well, what would they say to that? No, have some anyway.
Yeah, us girls try and be a little more discreet.
Yeah.
And, usually when you tell somebody it doesn't agree with you, they don't really want to know the details.
Yeah.
They usually say, oh, okay. And they kind of drop the subject. But if you just tell them it doesn't agree with you, it's an easy, I have found it's a nice social way to get out.
Yeah. Thank you. Here's another one I use. I said, yeah, that one gives me diarrhea. It's like 30-second diarrhea. So I just can't even think about it. As a matter of fact, I need to go to the bathroom right now. No, that's just
your EQ is dropping quickly, my friend.
But I see.
It's just a boy thing. I have a 13-year-old. He does the same stuff.
I don't know if we can.
One of the things that a healthy alternative to some of the stuff that is going to be served for them to try.
Yeah, I really want to try these new things, or I really want to try some of that. Yeah. Somebody else.
Can you guys? I'm
hear
sorry.
You. Yep.
You guys can hear me? Okay. I keep jumping in at like the worst times. I'm so sorry to interrupt people.
Hi, Linda.
Hi. Hey, this is such a great conversation. I'm merging, so I'm going to focus here. What I've learned is that, and I think a couple of the new people have brought this up, is this is such a new concept to say no to a hostess or at a social event and not partake in what's there. And what worked for me that Craig and I worked through when we first started our journey was even just saying, you know what, I'm really full right now. I'll have some later. But they don't know that later might be 6 months later. But it puts people off, and it kind of takes away that, oh, I'll just have some. It's okay. It's not a big deal. And I've got a glass of water in my hand and I'm okay. So that has worked for some of my clients, is when they're really kind of facing this new idea of, wait, how do I say no to cake? you can, you know, something just simple like that. I'm going to have some later, or I'm really stuffed right now, maybe later, you know, something like that where,
That's great.
I don't know, it's really worked and been helpful.
Are these,
That's all.
are these helpful for you guys? Is this giving you some ideas, not only for you, but to work through with your clients? Yeah, I know I am. Eileen, you had your hand up. Well, let me unmute you. Hold on. There you go.
Hi. Before I went up to Seattle for 3 months, I took a pre-diabetic class at Kaiser because I'm pre-diabetic, and they said a lot of the things that you guys teach, and one of the things, you know, they showed the plate and how much protein and how much, you know, they divided the plate up and everything, and it says, and the main thing was, do not go back for seconds. Everybody was like, what? So yeah, if I were just to follow that, so, you know,
that's my strategy.
You could say that, you know, if you want to make, not necessarily showing off, but maybe it can help somebody by saying, you know, I took a pre-diabetic class, and they said, do not go back for seconds, and I want to get out of this, you know, stage of, I want to get out of the, you know, these are some of the warning signals, and I'm trying to learn some healthy habits, not going back for seconds.
Yeah. That's one thing that I've done with my wife is, in the past, we said, as we're driving down to Springfield or, you know, Eugene area, which is about 2 hours, we talk about, I tell her, well, here's my strategy. And so here's my game plan. I'm going to have a single serving, and I don't go back for seconds for 2 hours. That's another fueling. And so I set my watch, and I just don't go, I leave the kitchen. I actually move myself into another room, and it forces me to actually talk to people and stuff. And I don't have to be forced to talk to people, and so that's my strategy. I let her know about it. Now, here's the thing about that is that she's not my boss. She's not my warden. She's not my, you shouldn't do that. But when I tell her this is my intention, because I want to be a person of integrity, I know that if I went back in there, she would see me going in there, and I would know she saw me, and I just can't have that. So it's like, as long as somebody else knows it's not my own little secret, I've let somebody else in on it. And it's just a little layer of accountability. And she would completely let me go do that. She might on the way home said, so what happened over there? Right? And so I just don't want to hear that. Right? So I don't do it. So anyway, great conversation.
I'm going to be taking off. I just want to say goodbye. Have a great meeting. I know you've got some great things planned, Craig.
Yeah,
one of the things that I'm really inspired to share, just in regard to this whole topic, is back to the focus on the relationship. And remember, it's not about, we have to be mindful of how we share. This is what I'm getting out of this. When somebody says something in that dynamic about food or whatever, that we don't become obsessive about it and make food our God, or make health our God, or make that, you know, the whole thing. That it's about the relationship. And there's soft ways to just say, oh, thank you for offering. But we don't want to like say to someone, I'm on this thing, or I'm doing this, and make it about that, or I can't, or I don't get to, or that whole thing that becomes like a victim almost. And then they're going to want to save us, right? And then besides that, we're losing the focus on the festivities and the fun in the relationship.
Yeah. Who likes it? Thank you, Alex. And I'm just going to dovetail on it. Who likes it when they say, well, I'm on a diet? Immediately, it's like it's their job now to get you off that diet. You know, and it's like, yeah, that does not.
I also like the idea that we don't go so extreme, that if you do have the 3 tablespoon thing, where maybe you end up, I'm just saying this as a balance, not giving anybody permission to or not to. What if you did eat their thing, a little bit of it? You know, I'm just saying that, you know, if it really was that's what it came down to. I'm not giving permission or not. I'm just saying it's just interesting how we can really we have freedom. That's the point.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for contributing. Have a great time.
All right.
Spread some health this holiday season.
Sounds good.
Yep. So does anybody here that's a first timer on the Health Coach Huddle? If you want to unmute yourself, tell us where you're from and who invited you. Yes, Lisa, that could be you. I know I've seen you before, but I don't know if you've been here. Have you been on the Health Coach Huddle before, Lisa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My memory. All your faces look so fresh and new. So who invited you?
I can speak for a second.
Yeah, go for it. Hi.
So I'm not an official health coach yet, but fairly new client.
Mm-hmm.
And so facing my first holidays with a new mindset. And I would tag in on what Craig was saying. Not only do you tend to spend holidays with people that stress you out, but the emotional lead up to holidays, for me anyway, is it's a really emotional and stressful time of year. And so very often it's not even about the food you're going to eat at the event. It's the dealing with the stress of the season, and having that go-to being, whatever, comfort foods. So that's just another thing to be planning for and thinking about, is not just the day of, but, the shopping and the expectations and all of the stuff that comes with the holidays. And, my typical go-tos to deal with that stress, to be thinking, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to whatever my new go-tos are, to be thinking about that as well.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. Yeah, it's thank you very much for sharing that. It's here's an interesting thing. As you were talking about it, maybe think of, there's two sides. We can be a guest going somewhere, or we can be the host. And there's a whole set of stuff that comes along. When you're a host, you want to have things people like because you want to make them happy, right?
Yeah.
And so you cook, I don't normally cook that, but they're coming over, so we're having this triple awesome whatever fat thing, right?
Yeah.
It's because you want them to be happy. So we have to really challenge our own internal voice of saying, can they be happy and have it be healthy if I do a little bit of homework?
I think another thing that we can contribute is, typically if you are going to someone's house, you're bringing something, right? You always say, hey, can I bring something? And is to find your yummiest healthy thing that you make, so people can see that healthy food doesn't have to be gross, but it can be something that is a treat as well. It doesn't have to be just the high fat things that are taste good. There's this misconception that healthy food is not tasty. So to find something that surprises everybody, maybe.
Don't you love that when you say, by the way, that had negative 500 calories,
right?
When you just ate that, it tasted awesome, didn't it? Right. But here's the thing, as you're thinking about that, is the reason why we don't bring healthy things is because I think you don't know what. I don't know how to make. I mean, Martin makes this wonderful. It's jicama with sugar-free caramel and cinnamon, and it's like a caramel bake kind of a thing, and it's wonderful tasting. But who would think of that? You use apples. Come on, people, right?
Yeah.
Sugar and whatever. And so if you do a little bit of research, you can actually come up with something. If you don't do the research, you're going to go with just tasty and what you know. It's all you can go. But if you go to something that's, if you do some homework, you can actually be something healthy and tasty. And I don't know about you, but show of hands, who here has brought something healthy and everybody ranted and raved, and then you said, oh, bonus, it's healthy too, right? It's like you almost can one up on the health. Yeah, well, I'm a health coach. So that could be your brand. Your calling card is that you brought this thing that everybody wanted the recipe, and it was healthy.
Hey, Craig, here's kind of what happens if you brought something, say you're going to your Thanksgiving dinner, and you need to bring something, or you offer to bring something. And actually there's something else when we're talking about dinner and the stress of eating, there's going to be something in this Thanksgiving with the dynamics in people's household that's even going to be more stressful. And how do you deal with that? And that's going to be the recent current events. That's going to the feeling of stress and maybe I don't say discord, but differences with our family members or guest members, and how to deal with that in a positive way. Let's say I'm going to bring mashed potatoes. I got the mashed potatoes, guys, but I'm going to cut them with half cauliflower or half jicama or half turnips, and they won't know the difference. But now I've just lowered down the caloric intake and the glycemic impact by sneaking something into the diet that no one knew.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. 50-50. Cauliflower with mashed potatoes. Or you can even go 25-75. Whoa.
And believe it or not, jicama actually works. You can boil jicama just like you do potatoes and make them into a mash.
Nice. So those are some great ideas. And thanks, Elisa, for being here again for the first time. I'm glad I don't remember. I mean, I remember some of your faces. Keep showing up and I'll realize that you're a regular. But I do have a little bit of a topic I wanted to get to today. There's two things I want to talk about. The first is that, 4 years ago, who was here for the very first health challenge that we did? It had nothing to do with the internet, by the way. It was spreadsheets and it was nuts. Like, we made it up. Anyway, that was way back when. And we've come a long way, right? We don't even have to calculate our points anymore. The system does it all for us, and we can win money, and it's like great content. Our content in the last one was you read a chapter of The Habits of Health. There it was, right? You got 21 points or something. Anyway, now we have all this great multimedia content and all this variety and great layering. And so if you've never been in one of our health challenges, we have a holiday health challenge that starts on the 20th or 21st, coming up here. It's 4 weeks, and it's a holiday special. So only 4 weeks long, where they're normally 6. And this one, the content is relevant to the questions you'll be having on the holidays, around health and the holidays. And so it's really great thing to do a couple of things. The first thing is I recommend that you join just for your own personal accountability and your own health goals, and you get your points. You work it, because guess what? You're all still on your own health journey, just like me. I'm pretty sure you are, right? So why not take care of yourself? I think they say the average person spends 7 minutes a day just grabbing a few points. So I know I can make an investment of 7 minutes a day for a 4-week period. So that's that. Second is that if you're on a team, many of you are joining my team, and you're all welcome to. Alex has a team in this one. So if you're connected to Alex in a nice way, you can dive in and join his team. Call him and he'll send you his link, or text him. But you can join whatever team. Because you're all part of my team eventually. I'm the great grandpa coach here. And so, but what I would love for you to do is I'm going to challenge you to do this. And I think it works really, really well. We've had amazing success. And so when people join the challenge, they get an exposure to our culture. And culture is king. If you are part of a healthy culture, it kind of rubs off on you. And the Healthy Games is a way to experience our culture, right? And so what if you were to join a challenge? I'll make you a sub coach so you can participate in the challenge as a like a team captain. I'll be the primary coach that runs kind of the back end and does a lot of the interviews and stuff like that, but you can be a team captain. And then what if you said, I'm going to challenge myself to build a team within the big team of 10 people, right? And so here's what that looks like. Most people, if you were to call them up and say, do you know anybody who's interested in joining my health challenge? 90% of them will say no. Why would they have a yes to that answer? Who's asked that question just as they're going about their day? Nobody, right? And so join the challenge and say, hey, here's what I've done. I signed up for this 4-week health challenge to learn some healthy tips this holiday season, and I can win some prize money and stuff. And so my task, I know it's kind of crazy, but my task is to find 9 people to join me. It's a team of 10 because I want to do really well. Do you know anybody who would be interested in something like that? And they say, well, me. And you're like, oh, great. Have you ever done anything like this before? You have a little dialogue. And so they join your team, and then you can say, have them do the same thing. I've joined this team, and we need 8 people to fill out our roster. It's like you're inviting people to a bunco club, and you need 12 people. Who's gonna be part of the team? And so as you go down the list, now you have 2 people, and now you're both saying it. We need 8 left, right? And so they each get 1. Now all of a sudden you only need 5. It just kind of exponentially goes. But what that does is it brings a bunch of people into our community that have never experienced this. And for health coaches, that means that you have more people that can awaken and say, I want more than just this health challenge. I don't want to concern my health for 4 weeks. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to work on this. And now I found a home for my desires to be healthy. So build a team of 10. And when you do that, when you have them sign up, or you give them your link, so we know that you invited them. In their name, just put your team. Like maybe you come up with, if it's Linda Benson, I don't know. I don't think she's doing her own team, but in the team, have them put, like, if you're part of a big team and so you're a sub team, just like do your team leader's name. So it'd be Linda Benson, LB, and then their name. And that way you can see all the teams and the names just by their initials in front of it. Anyway, just some ideas about that. But I really want to encourage you to think of the challenge as a way to protect people from the dangers of the holiday season. And it is like almost like a kind of a force field where they can get into our community and they may end up staying. They may become health coaches and make health something they do professionally, not just privately. Kim, you had your hand up. Go for it.
Yeah, I looked back. I think I've participated in 14 challenges. So I really love the challenges, and just thought I would add, piggyback on what you were saying. When I first started coaching and inviting people, I was thinking about who can I help, and who maybe needs help with their health. And at some point, I made a shift mentally to see, almost everybody's looking for some kind of improvement in their health. And because I used to be afraid to invite those super healthy people, like, oh, they don't need my help. They're already healthy. But over the course of time, I've actually made efforts to reach out to people and say, you are so healthy. I would love it if you would join my team, because it's a challenge to make those healthy choices when we're surrounded by all these things. Would you be interested in just having extra support in making those choices, or would you be willing to just offer, be an example of health on our team? And I have, I've had people join, even the people that look super healthy. I mean, I have friends that run marathons and they're just, and they say, I never drink water. And then to see them at church or whatever, and now they always carry their water bottle. And I know that was because they participated in that health challenge that, and so it's kind of fun. And one of my friends is a doctor, and he delivered my niece, and he brought his water bottle into the room. He's like, I still have it, and through them, they shared it with their family. And I actually have clients that are related to them that I would never know if I hadn't thought about that. So I guess I would just encourage to think about people that with no other background, or I mean, no, not just like, oh, do they need to lose weight? But think about people, you know, and I try to do this every challenge. Who are the people I love being around, and not being afraid to just invite them, whether they seem super healthy or they don't or whatever, you know, just like, you know what, you are so positive. We need more people like you on our team. Would you be interested in joining us?
Mm-hmm.
I just love your positive, or, you know, you are such a great cheerleader, or, you know, whatever it might be. That's the genuine compliment to them.
Yeah, Kim, imagine if you were building a bunco team. Would you look for fat people to join your bunco team? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you would. I don't know. It seems kind of weird. But we would look for people that you like to play games with, that are fun people, right? So this is a health challenge. It's like a game. So invite people to your team that would be fun to do things with, and leave your pre-concepts about what you think they like and what you think they don't like and how healthy you think they are. People that are healthy and are thin and are strong don't get that way by accident. They work on it. Those are some of the best people to have on your team, because they're already kind of part of the choir, right? But who doesn't need help even though they're part of the choir? Yeah, Lisa.
I was just going to say that part of what I was attracted to about this program versus so many other things that are out there is that it's a comprehensive optimal health. It's not just about weight. Yeah. So by what Kim was sharing, all of us, no matter what your weight is or what your age is or whoever you are, you're either on that path to optimal health or you're on a path to sickness. And so I love that it takes the focus off of weight, even though that's an important piece. But it's sort of, a lot of other programs imply that the only people that need to get healthy are people that have weight to lose. And I think it's just such a bigger picture than that. And I appreciate that about Take Shape for Life, that it's about sleep and it's about all of those things that make us healthy. And so I love that you're in, you know, you can include anyone, no matter where they are, to create more and more, you know, community around getting healthier and taking the focus off of just how much weight do you want to lose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I asked the question, if you're not as healthy as you wish you were, we have a place for you.
Yeah.
And now that means when you heard that, all of you internalized that through your own filter.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you, it was a weight thing. Some of you, it was a strength thing. Some of you, it was a sleep thing. Some of you, it was a relationship thing. Some of you, who knows what it might be. You know, it could be a lot of different things. But I have never asked that question and had someone say, I'm as healthy as I want to be. I've never heard a yes to that.
Weight tends to be what drives us to, want to do a program or whatever. But I love the focus on all those other things because it's just such a bigger picture. Yep. So anyway, just comment.
Great stuff, guys. So what your next steps, your action items are, if you're not currently in the challenge and you know about the challenge, then I encourage you to get in and start inviting. There's people out there that I want to say their lives are depending on that. Think about you. Think about the person that invited you, and if they hadn't of, where you would be. I mean, I want you to really take some time and think about that. You know, Daniela, it's like, what if Diane never came in, that never brought us into your office, you know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That'd be catastrophic on many levels, really. Right. I mean, I could see Nick and I would be down a path where we were a lot less healthy than we are today, personally. But then I mean, it almost could bring tears to think about all those people. There are coaches here that wouldn't be here.
Well, Maureen wouldn't be here. Barbara wouldn't be here. Kim wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. And then all those people that they reach, besides the people that we've reached. I mean, oh my gosh, that can get pretty emotional to think about that. So thank you, Diane, for finding us.
So think about that. When you're inviting somebody to the team, maybe they'll just say no. maybe they'll say yes and they'll just be on your team, right? Maybe they'll become a client, and which means they want to partner with you. Maybe they'll become a partner that brings their own team. They just choose to get trained as a coach. I don't know. I know they won't have a chance to do any of that if you don't invite them. Build your team. It's kind of a light feeling thing. Hey, I've done this crazy thing and I signed up for this health challenge and I need to build a team of 10. Who do you know that could help us out? Right? I had someone just call me the other day and said, I'm looking for some bail money. And I said, bail money? And says, yeah, I'm in the muscular dystrophy jail and I need bail money to get me out. And that's their ploy to get donations for muscular dystrophy. Well, I couldn't say, I said, okay, send me the thing. How's $25? Will that get you closer to it? She said, yeah, thanks for my bail money later. Right? And that's just what she did just yesterday, And so think of this where you're inviting somebody, hey, I kind of got in over my head. I joined this thing and I need to have 9 people join me because that's my challenge to get a group of 10. And if 10 seems overwhelming to you, well, start inviting and see where it goes. Let's say you only get 9. Poor you, right? Maybe you only get 3. Do what you can. So if you don't know about the challenges, I would say you know how to get in touch with me. If you don't know my phone number, it's the meeting ID that you tuned in today. Call me and say, I've been thinking about this challenge. I'm a little bit scared. Okay, let's talk through that. Let's figure that out. And if you've been part of it in the past and you decided maybe not to do it, I want to encourage you. This is a wonderful opportunity to magnetize and bring people into our community, and we need them here. Kim, you had your hand up.
One other thing, just briefly, for if you find yourself as somebody like me that maybe reaching out is a little more difficult, for me the challenge is a great excuse to reach out and just say hi and say, hey, I'm looking for people. And sometimes I can get in my head and it's hard for me to, I make up reasons why people wouldn't want to hear from me or whatever. But this is at least a reason to reach out, or maybe I've talked to somebody and I don't really have a reason to be back in touch with them for a while. Hey, you came to my mind and we're getting ready for this health games. And so is that something you'd be interested in? Mm-hmm. And if not, how are you doing?
Yeah. And I always ask past them, hey, Kim, so here's what I did. I kind of got myself into my head and I'm looking for people that can kind of bail me out. Do you know of anybody have you ever heard of anybody doing something like that? Or do you know anybody that's done those things? And so when you ask kind of past them, they may know of somebody, but they might also be interested themselves. And it's a little less direct. I'm trying to get you, right? And so that's always do you know if anybody could help me out? Maybe they know 3 people. Maybe they've done a challenge at their office and it was lame-o and all they did was winner take all, which is not the way our challenge works. And there was a bunch of sabotaging going on in the office because they were all trying to win this prize money, right? Have you ever thought about people do these things all the time? Or this has a different feel. So I want to challenge you to that. And then with the last few minutes here, I just got a couple slides. One of the things that we can think about through the season, we need a vehicle to kind of bring people to. People like to go to an event. They like to be part of something fun, and people like to do and be involved with other people that are doing things. People do what people do, right? If everybody's going to the party, you want to go to that party. So right now we have about 6,000 people at this party. And so as you're thinking, I want to implant some couple things. This is my 6th holiday season as a health coach. And so I've learned a lot of things from other people and from you guys. And so there's some mindsets of how you can start conversations. You can be in a conversation with somebody and you can ask a question. Because some people say, well, I just want to lead by my example. And so they talk about how they're doing with their health, but they haven't been able to draw somebody else out or ask a question. They've well, I'm just telling them how I'm doing, but they haven't drawn somebody else out and seen how they're doing. Jim, if you can unmute yourself, we had a little conversation yesterday about this kind of thing. And Jim also sells, he's in the hearing aid business. And he said, this is exactly similar to what I do in the hearing aid business. So you want to just give us a little insight on how that conversation went?
Yeah, whenever you decide to have a conversation with somebody, it has to be about them. When you make it about you, people check out. But when you drill down and find out why people want to do, for instance, somebody comes in to get their hearing checked, I always want to ask them, why do you want to hear better? Somebody, you get into a conversation, why do they want to get healthy? What is it that they're trying to accomplish? And then as you get information from them, you're going to sprinkle a little bit about your story or about your experience, but don't make it about you. You have to keep it and make it about them and how you can envision and build their dream and build what their expectations are, and talk about how you're going to be able to, how they're going to benefit from your services or from your coaching or from, so.
Yeah, once they've established that, I love how you said the word sprinkle. And so imagine somebody you're talking to and you can say, so do you have any New Year's resolutions? It's a perfect time of year to ask that. You know, are you healthier this year than you were the previous year? Most people will say no. Well, what happened? Or what did you have, did you have a plan, or, do you have any healthy recipes that you use for the holidays? Just some little questions to draw some people out that are health related. So the conversation starts to be about this reasonable question, but it has health, kind of a health foundation, right? And so, like Jim, we were talking about, a lot of times we get into the time where I need to tell my story. I just need to tell them. I need to tell them. And when you've been involved in situations where people are just telling you, and you're like, yeah, I'm not interested in being told right now. But I don't mind being answered when I express a need, And so somehow it comes up and I say, yeah, I wish I could change that. You're like, really? Well, why is that? Tell me more about that. And then I tell them more about it. And then they say, well, I have a friend that's a such and such, and he does this. And I'm like, really? What? Or it may be a skill that they have. So I have a couple so thanks, Jim. I have a couple little slides here that I just wanted to run past you, and you can create conversations. When someone asks you, what do you do? What do you say? That's a kind of a generic, pretty obvious one. But, do you say, well, I'm a health coach? Or do you say I'm I sell hearing aids, or I'm a teacher, I'm an optimal health coach. I help people in 3 areas of life: healthy body, mind, and then finances. Does that seem, and then you might even ask a question, have you ever heard of something like that? Or you might say, are you looking to move your health forward? Or are you, who knows? This is just the generic kind of an overview, but it's a simple thing of saying, what do you do? And then do we posture? Actually, I want to stop the screen share and just a show of hands. Who here is glad they're a health coach? It's like, this is cool. No matter whether you're coaching one person or you're coaching hundreds, it's fun being a health coach, right? And so why do we have the block that we sort of keep that a secret? It's interesting how we do that. Oh, they probably wouldn't want to do it. Well, I don't know. Maybe they would. So think about that. Let me go back to this here. So think about it. We offer, you guys have magic skills in these 3 areas. When someone's body gets healthy, does it affect their finances? What if they get off medications? What if they balance out their food budget and it becomes normalized because they're using our 5-in-1 program, and now they have predictable grocery budget. That helps finances. Now, those are just 2 ways that are non-health coach related ways. Someone starts helping other people, it's going to help their mind, it's probably going to help their body, and it will probably help their finances, right? I know many of you make a living from health coaching. You make a living by serving other people, helping them get what they want. Not, you're not forcing them. So this is an interesting phrase. I coach people to health in 3 areas. Some people are interested in their physical bodies, most are. And some people, it's more of a mental thing, relational thing. And sometimes it's a financial thing where they're looking to change up their finances. What area would you like to explore first? Something to think about. I love this slide. Be curious. What if we were just curious that we didn't know the answer? We didn't premeditate what the answer was going to be. We were just curious to find out what the answer was. We didn't know. So just let that soak in a little bit. Am I curious enough? And I think over time, if you're not curious enough, as you become aware that you're not, you will become more curious. Being curious is asking a question you don't know if there is an answer to. When we were up at Sundance, I was really working on this, and we drove down from the mountain. It was Daniela, Alex, and myself. And we were sitting having dinner, and I noticed that I usually ask questions that I know the answer to. That's why I ask them, because I want to be the hero and tell them that I know the answer to it, right? So that's one of the things I'm working on, because that's not a healthy thing. And I was sitting there at the table, and I asked Daniela a question, and I became aware that I didn't know the answer to it. I was actually being curious about something in her life. And I was like, I just made a little mental note. That was interesting. Just my awareness about being curious made me curious. So you probably didn't even know that, Danielle, but I had a little epiphany while we were sitting there having dinner. So be curious. Think about what that means. And then listen for cues. People that are saying they have lots of stress in their life. Maybe they say they work long hours. Maybe they don't like their job. Maybe they work more than one job. Maybe their family lives out of the area. These are little cues of people that our community and our culture could help. I've always struggled with my weight. That's an interesting. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. Or why do you think that is? Great question. When someone says, I always struggle with my weight, don't say, well, I can help you. Right? Maybe asking our question, why is that? If you hear someone say, I love helping others, well, tell me a little bit more about that. What ways have you done that? Someone says, you look like you're having so much fun. Well, I am. It's a blast. I wish I could stay home with my baby. I took a pay cut with my job. I'm just exhausted when I get home. I've got no room for anything. Those are cues that people, we have something that we can offer them that can address those things. Listen with your heart and your ears. Use open-ended questions. I've done that. Tell me more about that. Well, what if you could change that? What would that look like? And then I use the well-being tracker that can uncover needs and open a door for a deeper conversation. So just a few things to think about here. I just want to sort of deposit. It's not like you need to memorize any of those. Just let those kind of wash over you and just kind of ponder those a little bit. And think about when someone says something, be curious as to why they said it. Just say, tell me more. So when you said that, why did you say that? And it's kind of fun. It's like you're a little investigator. It kind of makes conversations a little bit interesting. I have no idea what they're going to say to this question. I'm going to ask it. It's kind of fun. So as we're closing up here, it's right at the top of the hour. Last little announcement that snuck by me. And so I thought it might have snuck by some of you. the weekly webinars and calls. We called these the Bio Network. These have been the doctor, nurse, and habits of health call. And so they have a new schedule. This is available at tsflcoachconnection.com. It's actually a website, people. And so you can go to tsflcoachconnection.com. On the right-hand side, Betsy and I discovered there's this word that says subscribe. And believe it or not, I've passed it up so many times. But if you put your email in there, you can subscribe to the announcements that Take Shape for Life gives to health coaches. And so this is the interesting thing on Monday night. So Monday night is going to be health coach training night, right? So it's more business minded. Wednesdays is going to be more personal development, personal, client support. We're all clients. So there's only, I want to have you all take a deep breath. There's only 2 nights a week, one for business and one for personal health. There's not a thing every night. So if you think in your mind, there's something every night, I just can't keep up. I'm telling you, there's not. Okay? Simple. Let your mind let that wash over you. So they have, interesting thing is they are recording the live session, and that starts at Pacific 4:30 on Mondays. And then they're broadcasting it again at 7:30 Pacific on Mondays, right? So that's the starting point. And then they go into a leadership webinar, and then they go to core business training. So it's 3 things right in a row. And you have the luxury of watching it live or watching it on replay later on, whatever works for your schedule. Pretty cool idea. I'm really excited about this. So it ends up being 4:30 to 5:15. So an hour, and I don't know what that is, but anyway, you do the math, figure it out. 4:30 to 5:30. Yeah, so it's only 45 minutes. Well, actually, the whole thing will last probably an hour and a half. And then Wednesday night schedule. So this is kind of cool. Instead of having a nurse call and a doctor call, they've combined them. And now it's called the health professional call. Pretty cool. So they'll have a nurse or a doctor on there, and that starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then they also, right after that at 5:30 is the Habits of Health webinar, which if you saw this last week, that was pretty fun. Shirley Mast and I did a nice thing on how to start an exercise program when you hate exercise. And then they have a trilogy presentation. So every night, our trilogy presentations may not be held every week. So they may not be one every week, but those first 2 are definitely going to 5 and 5:30. So it's an hour. And then down at the bottom, you have the core business training, October through January, and it's got some dates there. So that's what's going to be in the core business training. It'll be the skill of presenting our offering, right? And they're going to do that a couple times. The art of following up, right? So all those kinds of things. So those are some fun things that you can think about. And anybody have any questions as far as those announcements before we head off?
I just like to comment that I just think it's really awesome that they've done this, because that crunch around dinner time has been really hard for us on the west side. And this way, we have 2 options that actually go on either side of that. And so no more excuses for missing. So this is awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And, Take Shape for Life has listened to people, and it was like Mondays were a doctor call, and then it was the leadership call, and it was kind of chaos. And then Wednesdays was the nurse call and the Habits of Health call, and then it was a call, and then it was a webinar, then it was a Zoom, and so now it's just, we've got 2 nights a week, and then Friday mornings. Now, not everyone's invited to this. This is just people that are part of our team. So this is kind of a smaller thing on Fridays as part of our business day. And so technically Monday, Wednesday evenings, and then Friday mornings. And so you got 3 opportunities. And this is more of a cozy kind of club thing to me. This doesn't seem like, even though we do training here, this seems like it's just us, you know? So if you can kind of reorient your brain to what's happening and what's available, if you get stressed out about it, stop and take a breath, right? Stop, breathe. This is another tip I was going to talk for Lisa is I call it the 4x4s. So it's a 4x4. And you take 4 breaths, lasting 4 seconds, breathing in for 4 and out for 4, right? So when you sense a situation that's coming on, you can actually sort of hijack your brain in a good way by conscious breathing. And you just 4 breaths. So if you feel this holiday season that things are getting a little bit sketchy, you're up at 3 a.m. to get that Black Friday thing and you're standing in line and you're about to pounce, stop and do your 4x4s, right? So anyway, I hope that's good for you. We took up a lot of time. We had a lot of great discussion today. So I'm going to encourage you all with one action item. And that's if you're not in the health games, that you call your coach and you get the link and you join, right? And then the second thing is that you take the challenge and you think of this challenge as written in pencil, right? So don't freak out, but see what you can do. See if you got enough stuff to work to have 10 people join your team, you plus 9, total of 10, and see what happens. I'm telling you what, they could be so thankful when they realize what they've been invited to, because they could be one of you. They were one of you, right? So hope that helps and hope that you take that seriously. And if you're on my team, I'm going to do the heavy lifting. So your job is to invite people that we don't know yet and have them invite people we don't yet. And then your challenge is to build a team of 10. I may even provide some type of incentive about inviting teams.
Craig, before we go, can I add something?
You can add some, as long as it's a recipe. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we never share recipes. We always leave an ingredient out because that's the code of sharing recipes.
Okay.
Never give your sacred secrets away.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, what I was going to mention is in some of those slides that you were showing, and when we're visiting with people or when we're creating a conversation, we always have this urge of hearing their story and rushing to get our story in and tell them, as you mentioned, tell them a story that we haven't laid any foundation to. Do they really want to hear what we have to say?
Yep.
So we're all familiar with the 5 and 1 and the 4 and 2 as far as how to live a healthy lifestyle and maintain and be successful. But what if we applied those same concepts to healthy relationships, where we have a 5 and 1 in conversing with people? It's 5 questions for every comment that we're going to make back about us, but we still want to throw it back to them. So we can say, I can know what you mean. I had a similar situation that happened to me, but you know what? Tell me a little bit more about yours.
Mm-hmm.
Ask 5 questions or 4 questions to every 2 about us.
If you do what Martin says, you're just going to be a better person. I mean, just think about it. It's an upgrade. Give yourself an upgrade and be interested and curious about other people. It's fun. The more I do it, the more I'm thinking, man, I am boring compared to these people. There's some really fun stuff I've learned about people. And I thought I was really cool. But Mom, I'm still pretty cool, I think. But there's some things I've learned from other people that has been really great. It's like, who knew that? Thank you for sharing.
And here's a challenge yourself. See if you can get to 5.
5 questions. Yeah. But so enter relationships with curiosity, and it's refreshing in this world. It's really refreshing. You
are cool, and I love you, and I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, Mama. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I just had to say that.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you in a week, and thank you for what the gifts you give to me, and for being part of this community, because this has been really, really an important part of my life. So thank you all.
Thank you, Craig.
See you later.